details on this, you go into the breath. He calls it the breath. I don't want to go extremely far into the analysis, but I would say that anyone that has ever been into yoga and has been interested on Kundalini awakening, has been interested about energy moving through the body without you controlling it, it's accessible for everyone. And he also shows you people that are doing this and getting fully in a Kriya state, in a Kundalini awakening, where namaste, no perfect yogis. This is not your perfect yogi. And this is a review of Dr. Joe Dispenza Progressive Workshop. I went to one of Joe Dispenza's progressive workshops in Europe, in Barcelona, more exactly, in May 2024. And I want to share the experience of what happened there. For anyone that's been familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, this video might be relevant. You might want to know if it's worth going, if it's not worth going. But also for anyone that's interested in self-development, law of attraction, curing any disease, making any transformational changes in your life, listen to this video. This is a review of one of the events that I think is probably the most powerful event that I've ever been at, and one of the best manifestation, if that's the word to use. I know it might be a bit outdated by now, everyone talks about manifestation, but in this case I'm talking about manifesting what you want from your consciousness, with the power of your consciousness, bringing it into life. So without me going too much around the topic, I'm gonna describe what happened in the 3 days that Joe Dispenza covered in Barcelona, Spain this year. So if you know a bit about Joe Dispenza's events, you know that he has two types of events. One is the week-long retreat that's usually happening in the US or in Cancun, Mexico, and throughout Europe. He also comes here to do 3 days workshops. He calls them 3 days of workshops. It's 2.5 days, 2.25 days actually, workshops, but you definitely get your money's worth out of these workshops. This one was in Barcelona. I arrived on the first day. I think I shared on this a short about my arrival into Barcelona. I love Barcelona. It has a very good vibe. I feel that the vibe of that country also would influence how you perceive the event. So if you're going to one of these events, try to keep this in mind and try to pick a country or a place that you resonate with. So for me, Barcelona was the perfect place for it. The weather was good. The people were really relaxed and chill. There's a vibe. I live in London. Maybe you heard the ambulance just now. London is pretty crazy, like so much going on, you cannot recollect your thoughts. I get the feeling that Barcelona, although it's a big city, it wasn't that hectic, so it offered the proper environment for it. So on the first day is of Friday, the event only starts around 6 p.m. in the evening, so you can inscribe between 3 and 6 p.m. I think it was one of the best organized events. I don't know why. I just feel that things were flowing seamlessly without people making too much pressure of it. So I've been at a few events. I've been at a Tony Robbins event. I've been at a Sadhguru event. I'm going to do a review of all of them. But I felt that this was the most organically well-organized event. And I don't know if this had to do with Joe Dispenza or with the team in Barcelona, but I've heard also at other events of his that he had good organization. So I think it must have to do with the team. So you get there. on the first day, you get this brief introduction from, there's a lady there that introduces him, and then you are told you cannot take any videos. So I wasn't able to take too much videos. I got a video of Joe Dispenza dancing, but you cannot film anything that's happening there, or you cannot film his teachings. So what I'm gonna share now is based on recollections. But on the first day, he uses the first 2 hours to basically give you like an intro. If you've ever seen any videos of Joe Dispenza online, basically that's what he records or tells you in the first day. He's like, this is my preview, this is who I am, in a way. He starts talking about how your personality makes your reality, and our thoughts and the actions we take on a regular basis, this is what makes up our personality. And the decision to change, this is what can influence how your genes are reacting. This might have been already in the second day, but basically your thoughts influence your personality influences your biochemistry, so your epigenetics, and certain genes get activated dependent on what your thoughts are and what your decision about who you are is. So that's in short what's going on the first day. And he of course talks about things that we wake up and we do the same thing every day on autopilot. We wake up, open our mobile phone, read the news, go to the toilet, drink the coffee. It's everything on autopilot, and every day we reconstruct who we are from scratch based on our repetitive actions and repetitive thoughts. So if this is okay for you, this is okay for you, we can stop here. But if you are at such an event, usually you want to change something internally, or you want to change something in your outer world. And what he kind of tells you is that both is possible through his work. So the first day is a bit more general into this direction. No one disagrees. We don't do any meditation. So you didn't do any meditation on the first day. It looked a bit light. So that's how we finished the first day. Nothing out of the ordinary. You would think, oh, nothing much is happening at this event. The second day becomes a lot more theoretical. The one thing that he's telling you from the beginning is that you absolutely need to focus, and he has this way of teaching you where you can talk to your colleague after each sentence that he says, pretty much, so to make sure that you understand what he's saying, because he's talking in there about a few concepts that are really relevant. He's talking about the quantum field, so you'll hear him talking about the quantum field or about the unknown, and he's also talking a lot about epigenetics and the brain, and the fact that the brain is, let me go through it. So the brain has a different state of consciousness. So you can be in beta, which is the state that we are usually, the frequency we are usually in, where we perceive space and time. Then we're in the alpha state, where we're more creative, where we can start picturing, imagining things. Then the theta state, which is a sleep state, and the delta state, which is a catatonic state. And then we get all the way up to gamma, which usually is that kind of orgasmic arousal state, the super consciousness. And what he's doing in the meditations on this day is actually trying to take you through the states and teaching you how to get to those states. But before he goes into that, he kind of explains to everyone through physics that it's through quantum physics actually, that the electron is actually in a state of potentiality. So we are made out of pure potential. But the potential only comes to life when we actually observe it. So when an electron is observed, then it collapses into a state of physical matter. So he goes through a lot of this. It's very in detail. I would probably not do it justice to really explain it, but the theory behind it is that the more you can be in that gamma state, the more you can expand yourself, the more you can detach from material, the more you can be in the state of no space, no time. Again, I'm gonna compare it to that extreme arousal state where you lose consciousness almost. So from that state, everything becomes potential. So then when you bring it back down to beta, you need to kind of know what you want to collapse it in. So it's kind of you're dissolving something, and then the quantum field is one with you. And when you are getting back your consciousness into a lot more stable matter, then you know what you want to put your intention to, who you want to be, what you want to manifest. So this is like the very broad theory, and I'm gonna do a few videos about this. But what's happening there is that you start meditating. So you do a first meditation to really expand consciousness. So you go into that unknown, the no space and time. You're trying to broaden your consciousness. So all you're trying to do it is broaden it, and when you come back down, narrow it. You're gonna start setting intention. So the first exercise, the first meditation, is just to try to broaden it and become no space, no time, nothing. Fall in love with the nothing, to get aligned to it. From there, the second meditation has to do with setting your intentions. And here, let me give you an example. So he makes you put your intentions. So for example, if you want to achieve something, you want to write down what is that intention and what did it bring. Like I wrote expansion of joy, share more love. So it depends very much what you want to achieve, and then he makes you pair that with an elevated emotion. So I'm gonna feel this through gratitude, through a full heart, through joy, through just hugging a loved one. This is where you go back into the meditation and you come and do this exercise and you start putting your intention. So second day, you feel a bit more out there, but nothing out of the ordinary. You just learn a lot. You feel like, okay, the meditations start working for you if you are able to tap into the quantum field. And this is another topic I want to speak to about separately, but you will start feeling an energy around you. You'll start feeling like you're entering an energy field. Or if you are really able to detach, like he's saying, you'll start feeling lighter. You start feeling your energy a lot more separate, a lot more expanded. You will not feel as accumulated as we are in the material world. You start feeling expansion and your heart growing to the sides, your energy spreading through the room. So that's a sign that it's starting to work. But I say that this day is pretty much what you would get also from a meditation at home. But going to the third day is really the day that makes this workshop worth it. This is the day where, of course, we start with science. He's very much grounding everything in science. And by then, you have seen on day 2, he shows you the effects that this type of work has had on people's brains. And you could see people that had scans on their brain that showed extreme stress, different type of disorders, different types of burnout, and so you would see their brains really showing a total different picture at the end of his 7-week retreat. So he does this together with some blood tests and analysis. So after he presents this, you start to wonder, okay, how did these people get there? What's the secret or so? So you're a bit more open, I would say, for this. And in the third day, after going through a bit more details on this, you go into the breath. He calls it the breath. It's for anyone that's into yoga, and this is why I'm doing this video on my channel, because we do bandha locks all the time in yoga. So you know, where you pull your pelvic muscles up, where you squeeze your belly, you tone it, you lift the energy here, you lock it here. What yogis do all the time in bandhas, or lift the energy all the way to the top of your head. Imagine that. He finally explains why that is, and he explains that actually this is a cervical fluid that's going up your spine and reaching your pineal gland, rubbing against the crystals that are in your pineal gland and making that explosion in your brain. Turning the pineal gland fully on and having that arousal state, that gamma state that he was talking about. So we do together a few exercises of lifting the energy up through the pelvic muscles, through the core, up to the heart and shoulders, and you lift it all the way up until the pineal gland or even higher up, and hold the energy there. And then you go into a meditation. So you do this, I don't know, about 10 times or so. And we did the meditation twice. This is where I don't want to go extremely far into the analysis, but I would say that anyone that has ever been into yoga and has been interested on Kundalini awakening, has been interested about energy moving through the body without you controlling it, has been interested to research all of this. This usually in the yogic spaces is done by a master, and you follow it and you don't know what really happened. Well, Joe Dispenza makes it accessible for everyone, and he also shows you people that are doing this and getting fully in a Kriya state, in a Kundalini awakening, where the body starts moving from itself. So if you're new to all of this, this is the moment where the event might freak you out. But he took it very slow the first 2 days. So by this time, you probably are into it. But also by this time, you realize this is not just a simple event. This is what advanced yogi masters do in, in the Himalayas. And you're doing it here with a doctor, a scientist, and you are making it accessible for so many more people. For me, this was the transformation moment when I realized that this workshop was offering a lot more in the spiritual sense than many other spiritual masters would. And when I realized that this event was actually bringing something that's been practiced for millions of years to the masses of people that were there, and making it accessible. So making a hidden secret accessible and a cure accessible for everyone. Then we had a few more cases of people sharing their cure story. So people with cancers, people that had multiple sclerosis, people that couldn't walk, a lot of paraplegics that were able to lift up. And so just because this type of practice rewired their brain. We had at the end one gentleman that was there that has been just practicing at home, and this was his first event, who had I think, stage 4 cancer at all his internal organs, and managed in 15 months to fully recreate himself and melt away whatever issues he had. So it was I think one of the most spectacular retreats that you can be at without knowing that you are going to be at a very spiritual retreat, because it was done in a very scientific way. It was done in a very unpretentious way. It was done without Joe Dispenza coming on and being the big guru there, healing people, without any of that, just through science on the meditation and scientific results. From that point of view, for me, this type of event, it's way more worth it than a lot of other spiritual events that yogis go to, even plant medicine or things like that. So I would say, if you're thinking of something that's transformational, that where you want to learn techniques that will really change your life, this is one of the events that I would definitely recommend. I'm looking forward to maybe doing the week-long. I'm trying to do the practice at home in the meantime, but if you haven't read his books, start by reading his books. But this work is mind-blowing, it's transformational, it's changing a lot of people, and if you're allowed to be privileged to be there and be part of the change, this is a phenomenal thing. Okay, this was my review to Dr. Joe Dispenza's Progressive Workshop. If you have any questions, please write them down below. I'm gonna do a bit of reviews also on other events that I've been at, because I think it's always useful for people that are looking for self-development to know what's worth it and what's not. But yeah, until next time, I'm not your perfect yogi. Namaste, no perfect yogis, and see you.